What you need to know about spring reverbs. Part 1. The spring reverb is a very low fidelity device, but despite that, it works quite well in creating a reverberation effect. People don't realize that they stood in their music hall and could only hear sounds that bounce back from the walls instead of the sounds going out. They would be surprised to find out that those sounds are very low in fidelity and out of phase from bouncing off the different walls. The spring reverb is sending sound waves through springs, producing an output that's very much like that, but that bounces off walls and comes back in the room. When sound passes through the springs, it becomes out of phase because of the springiness of the spring delay. Plus, you can't get really good fidelity across these springs. The reverberation of the room is much like mixing sound that would come off the walls with the clear sound that goes outward. My amplifier has several features that can enhance the reverberation effect. Number 1. One problem with spring reverbs is that when you turn up the level, it starts to sound a little bit like you're in a metal box, which is a sound that I don't care for. I have spent a lot of time trying to isolate the metal box sound of the box and the metal tray that the springs are mounted on. I have concluded that the metal box sound has nothing to do with the metal box or the tray. I've discovered several adjustable factors in the reverb system that can affect the tone in many different ways. I have made these adjustable in my amplifier. Number 2. I discovered that the input transducer, which is very much like a little speaker hooked to the springs, is very high inductance, probably because it has very small wires that wrap around the magnet. This requires the frequency response contour to be matched to the inductance of the transducer. Spring reverbs do this by setting the coupling capacitance to the driver for the reverb tank. I discovered that there's a lot of wiggle room in that Fender seems to use a larger coupling capacitor, which is a 500 picofarads capacitor for almost everything. Most Fender amps still sound better if you reduce this to 250 picofarads. I use a solid-state 1-watt driver to drive the reverb tank that gets a signal from the first preamp tube in the amp. I think that the solid-state driver is better than a tube driver because tube ambience is not likely to go through the spring reverb in the first place, and cleaner sound will probably make the spring reverb work best. The coupling capacitance is adjustable in 4 different steps. I think there's different reasons why you can try different values. According to the original specifications from Hammond, there is a 6 decibel attenuation needed for every 1,000 hertz in the audio signal. Number 3. The dwell feature in reverberation refers to the fact that if you increase the input level into the reverb tank, the sound will reverberate longer. Standalone amplifiers usually don't have this feature. On Fender amplifiers, the dwell is controlled by the amp's volume. If your volume is a little over halfway, turning up the volume is not going to increase the output of the reverb tank. This does not mean that the quality of the reverb's output will be equal at any setting you set the volume at. My guitar amplifier allows you to set dwell where you want it, like the standalone Fender reverb units.